been a really exciting last couple of days, huh? For me, it's been great. If you've listened to this show long enough, you know I like talking about baseball only because the Astros are good. No offense to baseball. Football's my bread and butter. And now that the Houston Texans are back, we have just gotten so much Texans content to play with and to work with. And you got to embrace these moments. You got to enjoy these moments because, as we know, they don't often last that long. And usually when it comes to this team, all of the good happens right before a lot of bad. So I'm going to give you guys, I hate to say this on a family-friendly show, I'm going to give you guys some of the Texans porn I've been seeing out there on those mean internet streets. xtexans.com, texanshub.com. So much focus on CJ Stroud, and I get it. He's already won Rookie of the Year. He's on pace to break Andrew Luck's passing yards record. He could be the first quarterback to lead the league in passing yards per game since Davey O'Brien did it in 1939 with 120.4 passing yards a game. He's on pace to break Dak Prescott's interception percentage as a rookie. That means it's low, not high, which is what you expect out of Dak these days. He's on pace for 28 touchdown passes. The record, 31. He could overtake that. He's legitimately in the MVP conversation. And he's getting T. Swift, Travis Kelce-esque coverage. Deserved coverage, some would argue. Did anyone see that Zach Kiefer article? Honestly, I'm not sure that I can read this passage from the Zach Kiefer article without a little generic NFL Films music underneath it. Sean, I'm sorry to ask for this really late. We got some generic NFL Films music. Just give me anything, baby. Just give me anything because I really want people to feel the energy that Zach Kiefer, who's doing his best Tom Rinaldi, just dramatic lead into his story, does right here. New story at The Athletic. A father at Folsom State Prison. A son stirred to speak out on criminal injustice and more. On the S2 test, I got heads to bust on the tears that dotted his journey. This is the story of CJ Stroud, the best rookie quarterback in a decade. When asked about his S2 test score, what's a man gonna do to me? I fear God. I don't fear no situation. I don't fear a team. I don't fear an owner. What's so bad that's gonna happen? I'm gonna drop to number 10 in the draft? I'm gonna get drafted regardless of that dang test. Look at my perspective. And now, when it comes to tests going forward, he's somebody that wouldn't look at tests. And he's hoping that he's gonna change the NFL. Look, I could show you my high school report card. I'm not a dumb kid. I'm not gonna lie, I was lazy in school. I got what I could so I could play football. But I always had over a 3.0 GPA because that was the standard in my house. That was my mom's rule. Oh, man. And remember also that CJ Stroud during the offseason had said famously, I went to school for football. I didn't go to school for school. We used to dump on him for that. Now, I mean, he's just living the dream. So there's so much CJ Stroud porn right now. There's also a lot of DeMeco Ryans porn. You see, he was on the Pat McAfee show. You see, he was asked about his coaching style. Is this a shot at the Patriots' way? On one hand, how dare he? On the other, he said this. I want guys to understand that football is supposed to be fun. It is. That's true. I want guys to be themselves and have fun playing the game. Me being a former player, knowing how hard it is, I want guys showcasing their personalities. not walking on eggshells. I don't know if the Texans were doing that necessarily. Someone on Texans Reddit argued that this is perhaps a culture change from the Patriots way. I don't know if it was quite like that with Jack Easterby and David Culley and Lovie Smith. I'm not sure if it was quite there. Maybe it was with Bill O'Brien.
That's what I was saying. I was like, it's more of a Bill O'Brien thing. I mean, he hasn't coached here since, the first 4 games of 2020?
That's true. Man, can you believe that things went from them being up 24-7 to them being 0-4 the next year? And then eventually Deshaun Watson, who's, by the way, out for the season, asking his way out of town. But things change, people. Things change. Oh, look, here's more DeMeco Ryans credit. Zach Kiefer also did a DeMeco Ryans article. Oh, Sean, I'm sorry. I need more NFL Films music. I just need a little bit more. C.J. Stroud's first-year coach looked him in the eyes. I trust you, DeMeco Ryans told him. Deep down, Ryans loved the spot his team was in. Close game on the road against a Super Bowl contender. The type who would test every ounce of its resolve. He wanted to see if the Texans would blink. Great teams don't blink. The fans could smell a stunning comeback taking shape. The problem was, C.J. Stroud wouldn't blink. More from DeMeco Ryans. For me, it's not about shocking the world. It's about the guys in the locker room believing in each other. That's all that matters. When he was asked if the confidence his team is playing with starts with him, contrary to a Bill O'Brien answer, DeMeco said this: it's about them, not me. Oh my God. Are you not ready to go right now? Sean Mapes, how are you feeling behind the glass? I see our texters, our Twitchers. They're excited with all this battle red, deep steel blue, pomp and circumstance. I mean, I love reading all of these feature pieces. Truly, this is not me being sarcastic. I am dramatically reading it because I do find dramatic prose written about sports to be amusing. You got to have a little NFL Films underneath it. Maybe it's narrated by John Facenda or the late Harry Callis. But I mean, I'm just so pumped reading all of this about the Houston Texans, dude. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's something to see I don't want to call it like the downfall, because obviously there's still a lot of time left in the season, but to see the teams like the Bills and the Browns to be like scuffling and just be like, couldn't be us. Couldn't be this team. It's so weird that you can look at another team in the NFL, now several of them, now like more than half of them, and be like, they are worse off than the Houston Texans.
The Patriots, who thought we'd ever say that?
Well, they still have the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah. You've got the Jets. They had Aaron Rodgers going into the year.
Well, they're going to get Aaron Rodgers back.
More on that in the 10-minute drill. You've got other teams. The Jaguars just got absolutely pantsed by the 49ers. That was a team that was on the rise. You're right. It is awesome to not just see all of a sudden the Texans get a little bit of attention. You just want a little bit of respect. It's also great to see all these things that are swirling the drain outside of the Texans. But guys, now that you've gotten that C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans just smorgasbord of erotic content, I think we need to listen to DeMeco Ryans for a moment. Because DeMeco had something important to say about a little thing called success that came after Sunday's win. Because it's not just about one person. Here's your head coach.
Everyone contributed to the win. I think that's the most impressive thing to me about that game. True team win, everybody stepping up, everybody made a play. If you were up in that game, you made a play, and that's the cool part about our team. Is it doesn't matter who's out there. We expect everyone to do their best, play to the best of their ability, play fast, play physical, and that's what you saw from our entire team yesterday.
C.J. Stroud deserves credit. DeMeco Ryans deserves credit. But guys, in 2023, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. They might call me a communist for suggesting this. It's not about individual glory. It's not about individual performance. It's not even about you. Don't you know that football is a team game? Football is a team game. All this credit for CJ Stroud. All this credit for DeMeco Ryans. What about the rest of the Houston Texans? And I'm not saying there's a locker room issue right now. There's a dynamic with jealousy or anything like that. What I am saying is football is a team game. And we got to give credit to some of the people that deserve credit. Who else deserves credit? Oh, the trenches. Come on. Where's football won? The trenches. Offensive line, defensive line. Linebackers? Yep. You know who else deserves credit? Defense. Did you know that defense wins championships? 2 interceptions of Joe Burrow on Sunday. Hell yeah. 4 sacks. 3 by Sheldon Rankins. You know where Sheldon Rankins plays too? The trenches. And on defense. You know who else deserves credit? The special teams. Dare Ogunbowale killed a guy on a kickoff. Yeah. Matt Amendola, Kaimi Fairbairn. What's the difference? You know why there's no difference? John Weeksy snapping the ball to them, and whoever the hell is holding it, I don't know off the top of my head. Cam Johnston, greatest punter in the NFL, arguably greatest punter since Shane Leckler. Looks like Bill Burr. Credit. Football's a team game, guys. You know who else gets credit for what the Texans are doing? Tom Brady. Tom Brady talked to CJ Stroud before the season. Oh, you don't believe me? Did you hear CJ Stroud on the most recent episode of the Let's Go podcast with Tom Brady and Jim Gray, where Tom Brady just sits there and doesn't really say anything, but his presence is just so amazing that you sort of sit back and you take it all in, and then Jim Gray asks you hard-hitting questions? Here's CJ Stroud talking about the biggest reason that he's been so successful this season. It was because he had lunch with Tom Brady.
What did you take from that meeting, CJ, over the summer with all of the quarterbacks and the time that you got to spend with Tom?
Personally, it was like a cheat code to not only being an NFL quarterback, but like to be a professional person and a real man. When you walk in that locker room as a rookie, you have some people who look at you with confidence and you don't. So you really have to build that. So that instilled a lot of confidence in me and told me, man, like, I can do this. One thing that he did preach though is, man, the NFL season's long. We got to keep going. So for me, it's just the beginning, and I'm really excited. So I just want to keep working and keep proving people wrong and prove myself right.
A lunch with Tom Brady, the key to CJ Stroud's Rookie of the Year start? Yeah. You know who else gets credit? Nick Caserio and the Patriot Way, because they've evolved. They've evolved. Fun. As you heard DeMeco Ryans talk about it a little bit earlier, fun is now part of the Patriots way. I don't see Bill Belichick incorporating fun back in New England. Looks like the Texans got the real reason for all the Patriots' success these last 20 years. Advice from Tom Brady and Nick Caserio's expertise. You know who else deserves a thank you or two? You know who else deserves credit? Because football is a team game. Cal McNair. Cal McNair deserves credit. Those burgers that he flipped at that one practice, precious protein during training camp to help the Houston Texans bulk up. You might be thinking to yourself, well, Paul, a lot of those Texans got hurt. Yeah. You know what else deserves credit? Texans medical and training staff for putting the team through adversity, for making sure that some players were safe, were ready to go for the playoffs, but also so that the other players on this team in this team game had to overcome injuries. 23 guys on the injury report last week. Motivation. It's a team game, guys.
You know, when you get hurt, your body grows back, and it grows back stronger.
It does.
If anything, it seems just stronger than it was before all the injury.
Oh, no doubt, Sean. So there's a lot of credit to go around. And I know a lot of people want to give it to CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans. But I want to hear who you're giving credit for this awesome Texan start.
With our staff and the players, for me, it's just been it's not about one person. And I think that's the thing that I try to drive home to everybody. Everybody is involved. It's all a collaboration, right? And we're going to be good if everybody is bought in and everybody is on the same page and there are no egos involved in what we're doing or how we're getting it done. It's all about the team. It's all about doing what's best for the team, what's best for our players, and that's how I think we've gelled together very quickly and been able to have a little success here, is just because there are no egos in our building. Everybody is just wants to win. So whatever it takes for us to win, that's what we'll do.
It's not just CJ Stroud. It's not just DeMeco Ryans. Football's a team game. And while I'm loving all the loving those two are getting right now, guys, it's important to remember that for your beloved 5-4 Houston Texans. Some comments here on the most interactive sports talk show in Houston. HRW713 asks, Paul, is Texans talk safe for work? Not anymore. Not anymore. So make sure that you're listening with your headphones. I'm just telling you this going forward. It's a family show, sure. But listen, I can't control the explosively sexual nature of the Houston Texans offense. I just can't. So explosive. So spontaneous. Oh, something you love in a lover, right? Right?
Right.
Doesn't sound like you're really feeling it, Sean.
No, it felt like you're out there on an island going,
No, I'm not.
right? So I wanted to, yes, right.
I just want everybody listening to repeat to themselves, right, while you're listening on your headphones so that your coworkers think you're crazy.
Yes. And don't stand up yet.
Not yet. Wait a little bit. You don't want people to see. Another question. Does CJ Stroud have the same Lord and Savior as you, asks Not Santa? He might. Now, he does seem to be a very religious man.
Yeah, I think his Lord and Savior might be
a more traditional one.
Most people's Lord and Savior.
But, I mean, maybe that lunch changed things. And maybe he just doesn't want to tell people where he's at. I don't know. You know what I do? I respect people's privacy. I respect their right to religious freedom. And you need to respect my right to worship Tom Brady as my own personal Lord and Savior because he descended down from the heavens to make me happy. And he has.
Maybe when CJ Stroud says it's a blessing and all those things, maybe it's just like ... from Tom Brady. It's a blessing from Tom Brady.
It's the implication.
Yes.
A text. Someone said that they'd rather give Hannah McNair credit than Cal McNair credit as we talk about this as a team operation. Hannah does deserve a lot of credit, and that is from a serious standpoint. I think that Hannah has made the Texans more self-aware. They needed to be more self-aware. Another question or comment. This is from the text line as well. How do we feel about trading the Texans pick instead of the Browns pick? Now, obviously you have no idea what's going to happen down the road before an NFL season, but it does look like there is a chance that the Texans draft pick that they traded to the Cardinals will be slightly later in the draft than the Browns pick, given that Deshaun Watson, if you just tuned in, is out for the year with a shoulder injury that we've discussed before. Continuing the most interactive sports talk show in Houston, Ryan has a thought on the Houston Texans. Ryan, what is up?
What's going on, Paulie? I'm glad you're bleeding the battle red, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, you know who else deserves a little credit?
Who dat?
That running back core. Didn't both of them rush for over 100 yards, or was it just one of them?
It was just one of them. It was just Devin Singletary, Ryan, because Dameon Pierce is hurt. But yeah, Devin Singletary.
They combined for 150 yards on Sunday.
Right. Mike Boone did not have a carry, which is actually crazy considering how many carries Singletary got. Xavier Hutchinson, part of the ground game. Tank Dell, part of the ground game. Teamwork.
CJ Stroud, part the second most explosive run against the Bucs.
That's true. Next man up, guys. Next man up. Some more comments here. 713-780-3776. From the 832, if they were losing, would you blame everyone or the coach and quarterback? We wouldn't talk about them. We would not talk about them if they were not. Well, like this, we would be like, all right, we think it's going to get better, but we would not talk about them. I'm being serious on that front. We would legitimately not talk about them if they weren't winning. People have gotten sick of this team, and we have noticed that when we talk about not the Texans, up until like the last 2 weeks, people generally don't care. But now all of a sudden, people are excited, and you should be. This is how it should work. This is how it should work. More comments here. 713-780-3776 is the text line. I would like to give credit to the Killer Bees, who were haters at the beginning of the year and now acting like they are the biggest fans of the Houston Texans. That is true. That is true. I mean, Jeremy Branham wanted Will Levis. People don't forget.
He wanted Will Levis and not Will Anderson.
Unbelievable. Now,
Did he say that the Texans trading up would go down in infamy or something? It would be a day that lived in infamy.
He did. Pearl Harbor and the Texans trade up for Will Anderson. Also 9/11, but like not good in the eyes of Jeremy Branham. Was it exaggeration, hyperbole? I can't say.
I don't know.
I just read what's on Twitter. I have no sense of sarcasm. Never have. I just give you the facts.
Oh, he said it like at the draft show. He said it like basically as Will Anderson was still hugging his family.
He did. And you know what? Because it was a tragedy. He shouldn't have hugged his family. Should have sent them away.
Should have been like, sir, ma'am, I should not have been drafted number 3 overall.
I didn't want to be drafted. I didn't want this. I didn't want this trade to happen. So yeah, should have curled up in the fetal position right there. And honestly, I think that's the biggest problem right now with Will Anderson is Will Anderson doesn't regret enough the Texans trading all those draft picks to draft him 3rd overall. He doesn't regret it. And I mean, what an indictment on him. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic there.